Hey gang, got something special today to show you, and I'm pretty excited myself because I'm a fan of the John Wick movies, and I'm also a big fan of course, the 69 Mustangs and Mach 1s, and I'm here today with Matt Hogan, and he not only has one of the John Wick cars, or two, he's got three. He has the actual Chevelle from the movie, he has two of the Mustangs from the movie. One is a movie car, and the other one was the stunt car that got all smashed up. And we're going to do a walk around and show you these cars, and Matt's going to share some information with us, and let's take a look. Alright, so we're going to start with the Chevelle. This is a 1970 Chevelle SS. It has a 350 in it with an automatic, and this car was actually used in the movie. And it had done a bunch of the stunt work in the movie, but obviously it wasn't wrecked. Apparently they had another car that was a stunt car they got, for crash scenes. And then they had another car which was called...
They had the hero car, the beauty car.
Hero car, the beauty car. Matt knows all about this car, and he came across this car how long ago?
I bought it in February. I came across it as it was about to head to auction, and I intercepted it before it went to the auction.
There you go. Good call on Matt's part to get in there and get ahead of the curve on purchasing the car. Matt is a big fan of the John Wick movies, and he said earlier that when he found this Chevelle for sale, he knew he had to buy it. And sure enough, he did. So it's a pretty cool car. Again, it is an SS.
Well, unfortunately, this one's an SS clone.
It is an SS. Okay.
It's a clone of the hero car. The hero car was actually a 396 4-speed car, and this was the car that they built to go sideways, so they built a small block version of it so that they could get it a little more sideways easier and make the car a little more maneuverable for the stunt driver.
Gotcha.
So this one is actually just a Malibu, but it's an SS clone of the hero car beauty car.
And there we go. And that's why I have Matt helping me out with this, because we've talked about these cars and lots of information has been shared, but it's hard to retain that in a short period of time. So you want to open up the door and we can look inside? So that tells you right there, just a plain interior. It even has Malibu on the door panel over there. If I can focus in on it, I can't tell where I'm aimed. But plain Jane, but it did its job.
Absolutely.
For the movie. And I saw in the back here, you even have a custom vanity tag.
Yeah, I drive this car pretty frequently, and I didn't want to advertise too much that it was the movie car, but I had to have something on it to show that it was actually from the movie, so I got me a custom tag for it. Okay. And you were also saying that you take this to different events? I've taken it to a couple different charity events. I take it to some of the local car shows. I just recently had it at a Cars and Coffee. All right. So it's been in a couple of the local events. I've taken it to some of the different events around here, but I don't travel real far. All right. And I know that we were talking earlier. The Beauty Mustang is on tour right now in the U.S. It is. It's on the northeast coast. It's going up and down the coast of. It's got its own trailer, and they're touring around with it right now. Lionsgate has it. So. And if I'm not mistaken, they actually have one of the motorcycles with it? Yeah, they do. They have one of the stunt motorcycles from the third movie as well. All right. And I think you mentioned earlier that you're working on getting two of the motorcycles from the movie? I've purchased two of the stunt motorcycles from the second John Wick. So in the chase scene of the second movie, he's actually chasing a motorcycle through the city streets of New York, and one of the motorcycles from the movie, I'm actually purchasing that, so I'll have the motorcycle he was chasing and the car that they used to chase it with. That's awesome. Yeah, that's going to be a great combination. Can I ask you to start it up so we can hear it? Sure. And you see it's got the plate on the front, which is what was used on the car in the movie. That was his tag. Of course it's going to sound great.
Why
yeah,
not?
It has to sound good in the movie.
Very cool. All right, now we're going to take a look at one of the Mustangs. So now that we've looked at the Chevelle, let's have a look at the 69 Mach 1 camera car. And this car was used for all the scenes where he was driving, and obviously different angles and stuff like that. And you can see, and we'll show you that in a minute, all of the mount points that this car had on it for the different shots. In fact, Matt, you were saying that when you got the car, or when they did most of the filming, the door wasn't even on the car.
Yeah, this door wasn't even rigged up to be on the car. In the one of the very opening scenes of the movie, when he first gets the car back, he knocks the door off with a motorcycle. A motorcycle hits it and knocks the door off. So they used primarily this car without the door bolted onto it.
Okay. Very interesting. Now, I'm going to walk around and just take a look at some of the stuff with this car. Now, obviously, it's hit some things. You know, it's bent, and it has all these mounts sticking out, which is like 2-inch square tubing, so that they could rig their cameras on it. Those in the front. It has them on the side.
Those mounts in the fenders and doors are also for the cameras.
Yeah, all the holes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it has all these holes drilled in it, which, when you think about it, I don't know how heavy those cameras are, but you'd almost think that that wouldn't be strong enough to support some of those. And there's the rear bar. And you were saying this car is the only one that has these radial TAs on it?
Yeah, the movie car had the bias plies, the wide ovals. And this car, since it spent its majority of the time being a camera car, didn't have too many of the outside shots, so it's rigged up with Global West suspension, coilovers, and so it'll ride a little better. And it's got the radial TAs, so it's a little different than the other 4 movie cars.
Do you want to open up the hood?
Sure.
Not all shiny and clean like you'd expect from a...
You would think it'd be a little cleaner, but this is exactly how it was when I picked it up. So.
And you can see it has this support brace up top there, and of course it says right on the top here, Global West. And you can see that side over there is bowed. So it's had some sort of impact that has moved the tower or something. It does have power brakes on it. And a little side note, this car was yellow. There's indications all over it where it had yellow, or it was factory yellow. And you said, well, we know this car runs too.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's original 351M code car. It is a real Mach 1 car, so.
Let's look inside. Standard Mach 1 interior, that's for sure. But you'll find something different in this car. Yep, that's a slider brake for doing stunts. Could you imagine trying to get your leg? I can't picture that, lifting your leg up that high to hit that thing.
It's really awkward to get in there and try to hit that.
It's way up there. You want to fire this one up?
Sure.
That'll work. There you can see the suspension, disc brakes. And Matt, you were saying these cars were built by a shop in New Jersey?
They were.
Okay.
They were built specifically all to match the Hero car, just so that they could be put through the paces. So they're all braced different ways.
And the Hero car was intended to be a Boss 429, but we know that it really wasn't.
Yeah, even the stripes on the car tell that it was a Boss 429, but even the actual Hero beauty car that's on tour right now is just a built 390. It's not even a 428 or a 429. It's a 390 car with a C6, and it sounds the part, but obviously for real Mustang guys, you can tell right away that it doesn't have that Boss 429 hood scoop. So.
Well, all right. Very cool. Let's walk over and take a look at the other one. And now we're on to the, I don't know, crash car, stunt car.
Yeah, we'll call this one crash car.
Call this a crash car. So you can see, obviously this one's had a lot of damage. And you don't see it so much in the movie, but man, this rocker panel is pushed in a ton. The whole car is out of shape. The roof is buckled up here. There's cracks you can see cracks in the finish or paint, whatever if there's any filler, I don't know, but you can see how far this quarter's pushed in. And then of course in the front, I can tell you this, if this was a standard Mustang, this thing would have been a lot more pancaked, because they put a lot of bracing on this car, and I'll show you some of that. And whatever, it would definitely have been a lot worse if it was just an original style Mustang, but they did a lot of bracing on this car. And Matt, you were saying that the front end damage was from what part?
This was the car that in the movie, he was trying to escape the warehouse, and there was a guy that pulled up crossways in front of him to block the door, and he ended up doing a straight T-bone into the door of the guy, and actually hit him twice. And this is the car that did the damage to that car. It took 2 front end collisions.
And you can see also, I'll point out, basically if you look at the gap on that fender to the door, that whole front frame rail is pushed up, and this car would be very hard to get roadworthy.
Very hard, yes.
You want to open the hood and we can
Sure.
have a look and see some of the bracing that they added for the movie. Now, you can see these tabs up here, and I'm assuming because this side is showing this bolted on brace, that they just welded directly to it. So this one, they must have taken it out to get the battery out or something.
Yes.
But it had the same kind of deal. And it's off the hood pin, which there's not a lot of strength here to begin with, but I guess they really didn't have anywhere else to go. And you were pointing out that it says on this sticker over here, what does it say?
Stunt number 2. And read that it says right here,
Yep.
Stunt number 2.
So this is an M-code car as well, and it has disc brakes with factory air conditioning. And this, I mean, I just can't believe that they left all that on there, even though it was used, to destroy basically. But it's just hard to believe that they still have all the AC stuff on it. And you can see all this extra bracing I was talking about that they've added in to try to stiffen this car up. And I mean, it did its job. But another thing I want to point out that you can't see in the movies is this internal bracing. And I'm hoping I can get a good shot of this, because man, this is really, there's 2 bars coming up and they follow the shape of the fender and then go back down to the frame rail. And then on the tower, you can just see all the extra steel that's welded on the outside of that tower. Hopefully you can see it. And then there's 2 braces that run from that steel back to these tubes. This is really well engineered for that kind of impact. And then in the back, same kind of deal. They've got tubing running all along the inside, above the tire, inside the width of the tire. So obviously you wouldn't do these kind of stunts with a stock Mustang. because we all know how bad they would be. And considering all that bracing was in there, if you look at this side, you can see, well, quarters split off, but that doesn't matter. But you can look at all this tubing in here. It basically helped protect the tire and keep the car drivable. Lots of extra work to make that sort of thing happen. And also with this car, it has the stunt pedal, but this one's mounted a little bit better than that one in the other car.
Yeah, this one's mounted a little further back. It's a little more comfortable.
Yeah, you can actually get your leg up to hit it. But basically the same car, except this one has air conditioning. So that might be I don't know if they showed any of this car in the movie.
I don't think the inside shots of this one were shown in the movie. I think it was just the side shot right from the driver's side here and the front shot.
Okay. Well, see, I just noticed that this back the seat looks like they may have added some or had some support structure. You know, why else would you cut all the seat apart?
There was also a ring made in the floor down there so they could hook a secondary seat belt.
Right here. Okay.
So there's a ring right there where you can hook like a 5-point harness or something.
Yep, there it is. Oh, there's one on both sides. There's two of them. Very interesting. They just cut off the the post.
I guess that's how they got the door.
But man, I can't believe how far that rocker's pushed in. And of course, windshield all busted out. Now, your plans for this car at this point are?
I would like to leave this one alone. I'm getting a lot of push from fans of the movie to restore this one back to where it would be more of a beauty car style, but I'm up in the air right now on whether or not I want to spend the time and trouble to basically ruin what this car has.
Right.
It's basically the legacy of one of the cars that they wrecked for the movie, just to make another nice looking Mustang.
And see, that's what we've talked about earlier. I'm with him on the idea of leaving this car alone, because all this inner structure that they've added, the damage that you see, you basically would have nothing of the original car.
Correct.
Literally nothing, because there's nothing straight. You couldn't save, you know,
half the car would get cut out.
Oh, at least, because everything is crushed. The floor pan, the rockers, all the front clip. I mean, you would save the glass out of the back window. That's about it.
Yeah.
And
you'd have a VIN number and glass.
Yeah.
And then it wouldn't be the car anymore.
Right.
It'd be corn.
I'm 100% with you on leaving this car the way it is. You know, cleaning it up, making it show-worthy as far as safety items and, you know, whatever you need to do to keep people from hurting themselves on it. But I couldn't modify this car or try to rebuild it at all. And I don't know if I'd even want to. I'm telling you, it would take so much work to try to get it back to the beauty car status. Now, you said you haven't had this car running yet.
No, I want to go over this one a little further because of the damage. I want to make sure that it hasn't had any pinched fuel lines, or all of the fluids need to be gone over. So I have not attempted to try to run this one yet. I
mean, I just noticed, I was looking at the hood trying to figure out what was wrong, and I realized it's separated. That's why it has this big gap between the upper and lower skin that's supposed to be touching each other. It's remarkable.
It's amazing how hard they put these cars through their paces.
It is. And you don't think about it. You see it in the movie and you're like, oh, look at that. No, this car took some hits. And again, I credit them with all of the extra bracing to make it functional at that point. So that'll be it for this video. I really want to thank Matt for letting me come up here and have a look at these cars, and him sharing the information with me and also with you. I think that these cars are going to get a lot of attention no matter what you do with them. Obviously, you're taking that Chevelle to shows, and if you're going to be taking the Mustang to shows, you're going to get, and especially the motorcycles.
Oh yeah.
You get all that stuff together, it's going to be a great package deal. So again,
not a problem.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. And so if you like this video, throw a thumbs up on there, share the video, leave a comment. Let me know what you think about stuff like this, because as my channel grows and I'm trying to do different things, this kind of thing could happen. I could be getting more interest in this and sharing stuff like this with you at home. So until next time, take care of yourselves. Hertz facility, or Hertz rental area, and apparently they don't have any of the mid-size cars that I'd planned to rent, so they're gonna make me drive this. Oh no. Oh no. Well, that seemed to be a good experience. Had fun talking with Matt today and looking at his cars, and just really excited about seeing those John Wick cars, and I want to thank Matt.